So did you all see? The Proud Family Louder and Prouder is coming back for a third season this August. I was a big fan of the original series when it aired back in the early 2000s. And you know, I think it's cool that the series is still around for a new generation of viewers. I previously uploaded a video on both the Proud Family and the Proud Family Louder and Prouder here on my channel. It is currently my highest performing video, so thank you to everyone who watched and interacted with it. And if you haven't seen it yet, I will link it below in the description. The video is titled, Why Dijonay, Not Zoey, is the Real Victim. It's an overanalysis of my thoughts, feelings, and observations of the colorism that the Proud Family TV series and their writers have perpetuated, mainly through the character Dijonay Jones. Now, something caught my ears when watching the new trailer, so let me show you.
Celebrate Black Beauty!
Your skin color is a gift.
You're like a fairy godmother, but black!
Your skin color is a gift. You're like a fairy godmother, but black.
And how about that? Is Louder and Prouder hinting that they will have an actual colorism episode? I don't know how you guys interpreted this, so let me know in the comments. But to me, that's exactly how it sounds. As expressed in my video that I mentioned earlier, the Louder and Prouder episode titled The End of Innocence criminally missed the mark with the acknowledgement of colorism and preference storyline. And my main critique with this episode is that it blamed the victim of colorism for her own plight and victimized the character who can't experience colorism instead, which is a huge disservice from a TV show which centers a black girl and without a doubt has a huge black girl audience. The black community presently and historically has collectively never really been honest about colorism. There are more people who perpetuate it than acknowledge it and take accountability for its impact towards dark-skinned black girls specifically. The community's collective intentional dishonesty with this issue, while perpetuating it in nearly every platform we create or participate in, makes what the writers of the Louder and Prouder episode did both ironic and right on brand. Regardless, it seems in this mini spoiler that the writers are seeking a redemption to this topic. However, being a part-time pessimist, a full-time realist, and a long-term fan of the original series, I will be honest and say, I don't trust it. Sadly, I have very little confidence that they will do this topic justice. And I feel like more than likely, they're going to mess up this storyline too. My first clue is the people in the scene of this mini spoiler where Trudy says to Dijonay,
Your skin color is a gift.
where Dijonay says back to Trudy,
You're like a fairy godmother, but black.
Now Trudy, Penny Proud's mom, is often shown as the wise matriarch who is understanding and guiding. But I feel it's inappropriate to have her in the spotlight as the voice of reason and understanding for this particular episode, if that's what they've chosen to do. The intention behind this demonstrates a very common subliminal message. I notice this trope most often in historical fiction, where the narrative centers on an oppressed group, yet the story chooses to highlight the small number of so-called good individuals from the oppressor group, often giving them the hero role, despite the broader historical reality. And while I understand that this is used to alleviate collective guilt or promote unity, as a Black American seeing this done so often with our history in the media, it comes across as disingenuous. We saw this type of historical revisionism in The Princess and the Frog with the character Lottie, who despite living in the South during primetime Jim Crow and being a clear descendant of slave masters, was characterized as being Tiana's champion along with her father. Basically what I'm saying is that the impression of this clip showing the light-skinned woman teaching the dark-skinned girl to love her dark skin is giving the light-skinned savior trope. And I wouldn't be surprised if they decided to prioritize and protect people who benefit from colorism's feelings during this episode more than accurately present a storyline focusing on the true effects colorism has for dark-skinned black girls. The media majority of the time favors highlighting light-skinned women who understand colorism more than showing how they benefit from it and perpetuate it. And while yes, it's possible for some light-skinned women to empathize with colorism, we truly aren't shown a balance between those who empathize and those who use it against black women and perpetuate it. Both are true realities of colorism. That's what makes colorism so systematic. When a light-skinned character is cast alongside a darker-skinned character, the media often edits the lighter-skinned character more favorably. For shows like The Proud Family to highlight this aspect of colorism would both expose and challenge their bias, which is why we don't see it as often. Despite presenting light-skinned women and girls more frequently, more favorably in comparison to dark-skinned black girls, most media can't present a story about colorism without implying that light-skinned women and girls also suffer discrimination, which ultimately derails the focus on colorism itself. And like we've seen in The Proud Family all these years, black girls are usually blamed for their plight. And what that sounds like is gaslighting. It's their fault they keep talking about colorism, only insecure girls are complaining about colorism, and so on and so forth. We even saw an example of this in the sitcom Blackish in the episode titled Black Like Us. The mother character, Rainbow, played by biracial actress Tracee Ellis Ross, has a hero moment where she stands up to the grandmother, who is played by Jennifer Lewis, a monoracial black woman, in defense of her place in the colorism conversation and how she can relate to her dark-skinned daughter's struggles. Throughout that episode, Rainbow defended how light-skinned people can experience colorism, which is not true, and equated her struggles to people with dark skin, which is extremely undermining, but also very reflective of what it's like dealing with people who are so used to being centered that they can't even acknowledge your pain without redirecting it back to themselves. And that's the reality of colorism. The problem is, the writers of this show are portraying Rainbow's entitlement as deserved. And despite wanting to be supportive of her daughter, her lack of ability to not prioritize herself in this moment shows how out of touch she is with colorism. As a dark-skinned woman who has experienced colorism firsthand, of course I noticed it in that episode, but it was clear to me the writers of Blackish wanted Rainbow to be seen as justified. That's why they had Grandma Ruby apologize to her, even after Rainbow called her a monster. They even had Ruby apologize for bringing up complexion, which is yet another way of shifting the blame for colorism onto black women. This episode was terrible. I've never been a fan of Blackish. It's always felt like a weird, out-of-touch show. And they really should have been honest and titled this episode All Skin Tones Matter, because like the phrase All Lives Matter, the intention behind this episode was to take all the focus off of the group being affected by colorism. But clearly this narrative comes from the community, which is why we see this extended in our media often, and it is one of the worst, most disingenuous ways to explain and confront colorism. But hey, that's why I said in the beginning how the black community has never been collectively honest about colorism. They've prioritized showing it one way, which victimizes those who benefit from colorism while shifting all the blame on those who suffer from it. And if you're like me, a dark-skinned girl with a large number of relatives who are, or perceive themselves of being, lighter skinned, you know that struggle. Most are never empathetic towards colorism, nor do they acknowledge their active colorist language, actions, or mentality. I am also that dark-skinned daughter of a light-skinned mother who always gave me black Barbies, so I get the sentiment of a well-meaning light-skinned mother. But reality is, people can't fully understand the gravity of something that doesn't personally affect them. And when there are groups of people who benefit from something, despite it hurting others, they're going to defend what gives them an advantage and keeps them on top. There are even a lot of dark-skinned people in the community who defend colorism, sadly. And going back to the Proud Family, to use this moment to uplift Trudy's character, who comparably has always been presented positively, is colorist in itself. To truly show colorism through Dijonay, they are going to have to be honest. Show the preferential treatment Penny and her friends receive over and in spite of Dijonay. Show how Dijonay is often the butt of the jokes, the degrading comic relief, and often not taken seriously. Show how she is often showed as least desired, adultified, and hypersexualized compared to her friends, and essentially everything that they have been doing to this character since the show began. Like I said, I go in great detail of Dijonay's representation and how it extends as black girl representation in the Proud Family in my video mentioned earlier, so check that out. The colorism conversation is overdue for the Proud Family and any TV show that centers black girls. No matter how dishonest people want to be about it, colorism is prominent and has always been the standard in society. And by the way, colorism by definition is the discrimination of dark skin tone, No, light-skinned people cannot experience colorism. They benefit from it. So Penny and La Cienega are both girls who can be shown in this episode as super out of touch when it comes to the harmful and demeaning effects of colorism. Their experience is going to be completely different. They benefit from it. Dijonay, the Gross sisters, Sugar Mama, and that social justice warrior character who I'm really not a fan of. I think her name's Maya, voiced by Keke Palmer, are all examples of female characters who can experience colorism in the show. It does not go both ways. And of course, anyone can be bullied, disliked, or mistreated because of their skin, same with their hair, style, or personality, but that is discrimination, not colorism. Colorism is very specific to dark skin. And it's a significant difference between someone not liking a person because of their skin tone and colorism, which affects the individual on a systematic level, which I talk about all the time on this channel, such as overanalyzing black versus beige representation in K-pop, why I side-eye the Cheetah Girls, and the erasure effect, just to name a few. So if you're curious, check those out. Anyways, when this episode comes out, you know another video from me is coming, so hit the subscribe button if you want to be here for the follow-up. I'm actually happy it appears that they're confronting this topic head on, especially after seeing the response of my video, and there are so many other videos on this platform who participated in the discourse as well. I'm sure the writers had to be in the bushes. Like I said, it's been time, and I'll hope for the best while expecting the worst. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Check out my Black Girl Representation playlist. I will see you guys later. Bye.